Hey, what's up, good people? So we're going live real quick. We've got a lot of plants to trim, and I thought I'd share this with you. So this is what we're doing today. We're going to be trimming some uh, some plants, and let's talk about the strain that we are going to be trimming before we go over into the studio area over there where the plants are at. So I want to show you guys a little bit about the strain that we are going to be looking at in a second here. It is called Zope. Who's heard of Zope? Hit me up in the comments if you've heard of Zope before. Anyway, Zope is it's a hybrid, and Zope was created here. Let's read up on it a little bit. But Zope was created here in the Bay. It's a hybrid weed made by crossing rainbow sherbet and pink guava by D.O. Farms in Oakland, California. Shout out here to the Bay Town business. This evenly balanced powerhouse has a quick onset, bringing on waves of euphoria and positivity. So, reviewers on Leafly, that's where I'm getting this information from, say Zope cannabis makes them feel giggly, relaxed, hungry, and it does have a sweet floral kind of flavor. When we get over here and you see it, you'll see. Well, we don't have smell-o-vision, but if we did, you'd see how how great you'd tell how great it smells. But pain, stress, depression, nausea. Those are some of the things that people in the medical marijuana industry field have claimed that it helps with the pain, the stress, the nausea, depression. Um, so yeah, we grew it. We grew this strain outdoors, and so now I'm bringing the strain indoors just to dry it and to trim it and dry it. So we're gonna do what's called a wet trim. And yeah, so I'm gonna take you over here and let you see what we got going on here in a second. Let me get this stuff together, together. Um, Bear with me here. I want to get us over to the where we're at. Get myself set up. Take the camera over to the studio. All that good stuff, you guys. Bear with me. Right. Let me move this camera. Yeah, let me know if you guys have grown Zope before. This is my first time growing it. So I really enjoyed it. You guys will get to see what I see in un momento. Okay, so let's check out what we got. Get us some air. All right, here we go. Let's check it out here. Let's get the camera back running. How do we get that done? Bam. All right. Yeah. So this is a close up of our Zope. I'm gonna come sit down over here so I can. I won't be able to. I can't see the monitor, so if there's comments, unfortunately, I can't see them right now. Putting gloves on because these buds are very sticky, and we don't want nothing sticking to our fingers. So I always wear gloves. Little pro tip: if you have big hands like I do, try to find extra large gloves if you can't. And if you do, whatever you do, uh, rub some vegetable oil on your hands before you put the gloves on. They'll slide on better. So this is our Zope. They're pretty big, big buds, and these are in small pots. Uh, the pot here, you can see some of the other plants. I don't know if you can, that I've already done, but the pot here is was this, a 5 gallon? And these were grown outdoors. I fed them as if they were indoor plants. So everything that I fed them, the only thing that I didn't manipulate out here was the sun. And so we'll talk about some of the advantages as we trim. This is called a wet trim, though. What I'm doing, uh, I'm just cutting the fan leaves because these fan leaves don't have much nutritional value anymore. Uh, and they contain a lot of moisture. So when you wet trim, you want to trim not the sugar leaves, not these tiny little leaves. I'm not concerned about those. I'm concerned about these big fan leaves. And we want to just kind of trim that to what we as growers call trim this thing bald. You couldn't put this back outside or under lights because there's no more, we're stopping the photosynthesis process, which is these leaves. And you'll see that I'm trimming the leaves at the very base, right? I'm not just trimming the top, right? I'm trimming the base because this little stem has a lot of moisture. And so you would ask, like, why are you trimming? Why you trim this off? Well, there's no THC on the fan leaves, right? But the main reason is when you dry it, at this point, moisture is our enemy, right? So we don't want moisture because moisture is what creates the powdery mildew and all kinds of bad stuff that you don't want on your cannabis, because we want this to be as pure and natural as possible, right? Um, but the reason why we're trimming is when it dries, like, it's gonna hang. We're gonna cut this at the base, and then we're gonna hang it upside down. And when it hangs upside down, it's gonna kind of curl up like this, right? You see that? And if these we left these leaves on there, it's gonna create a lot of moisture, and that's what's gonna create uh, the, the bud rot and the powdery mildew, and we don't want that. So we cut our leaves that was solely responsible for the photosynthesis of this plant. But now that it's at the end of its lifestyle, I'm just doing the Edward Scissorhands thing here, and we trim it, right? And then we're gonna hang it and we're gonna dry it. And I'm probably glossing over the drying part, uh, not intentionally. I'm just, rushing here to do all these plants. I've got uh what I'm doing right now is I'm looking down into this bud. I wanted to make sure there was nothing going on bad with it. And there's not. But yeah, I'm a race against time, so I'm just kind of going fast here. 30 plants. This is gonna take me probably about, I don't know, half hour a plant, half hour a plant. Yeah. Just doing the wet trimming. Can you see it in the camera? I hope so. I sure hope so. Be messed up if I was doing this live and nobody could see it. That's happened to me before. Wasn't paying attention to the camera stuff. I was just doing what I do. So these are some huge buds, and they're sticky. My fingers are sticky, So that's the other reason I'm wearing gloves, because I don't want all that sticky icky on my fingers, because you can wash your fingers, you can wash your hands after dealing. If you grow on some really good loud, some good quality cannabis like we teach in our class. Yeah, you get this on your fingers. Oh my goodness. You're gonna be in the sink washing your hands about 3, 4 times, and it's still gonna be sticky. So wear some gloves. The other reason why I wear gloves is because I don't want to damage this bud. It's got so many, it's hard to see, but it's just so frosty and it's got so many trichomes. And I don't want those trichomes on my fingers, right? I want it to stay on this bud as I trim it, much as I possibly can. So that's all we're doing. We're just coming through here, giving it a haircut. And this is the first step, right? How many of you have even seen a cannabis plant in this phase before, right? Look how big that is. That's just one bud. It's probably like the size of my hand, and what, 20 of them here from one plant. They're heavy too. Now they're gonna shrink, and the weight, it's gonna be a fraction of the weight because these got a lot of moisture in it's still on the buds in the buds. Uh, but this is a good this is a good haul here in terms of volume and its quality. You know, so as a rule, outdoor growing is not going to be as quality um, as indoor because there's just so many variables that you can't control when you're outdoors. You can't control uh, the airflow, how much wind is blowing on the plants. And so, a lot of outdoor growers, you guys are getting powdery mildew issues. You're getting bud rot. You know why that is? Because there's inadequate airflow in between the buds, right? At night. So are you defoliating? Are you constantly throughout the grow? I mean, my this grow right here, this was so tough at night because I started seeing uh what did I start seeing? I started seeing what is that called in the morning? Dew on these buds in the morning. And I was like, oh, I don't want to see any kind of powdery mildew, any bud rot. So I ran fans. I ran some fans to help me out in the evening time. Sure did. Best thing I could have done, just to keep this thing is leaning so hard because it's so heavy, but just to keep you know, keep it from getting too much moisture and then creating any kind of bud rot. I'm looking in between these buds. I don't see any, but you want to inspect your buds. You don't want to like manhandle them, where you pulling them apart, but you want to kind of look. I use a jeweler's loop. So when to harvest, that's always been a huge question, whether you're indoors or outdoors. Most people think you're harvesting, uh, usually outdoors, it's around October, around this time. Um, that's when you want to, but the surefire way is not to just wait to October, although that is usually harvest time. But it's to get a jeweler's loop. Get in there and look at it with a jeweler's loop. You can take a picture of it with your cell phone, put it on Zoom, take a picture, and then zoom in on that picture. What you're looking for are the trichomes, and you can't see it with your naked eye. Right now, these things look like, plants. I have some more. that are still going. They're sativas. Sativas generally take a little bit longer. But anyway, you look at it right now, I could show you a picture of it and you'd be like, oh man, this is ready. You look at it under, closer inspection under the jeweler's loop, and you realize that the trichomes are still clear. They're not ready. They're not ready. You have the reddish is coming from the pistils, and they're starting to turn colors, like, and the families are starting to turn colors like the fall. What happens to trees in the fall? They start turning colors as the fall approaches. And at first glance, you say, okay, my cannabis is done, but you got to look at it a lot closer. Uh, the professionals, we look at it under like a microscopic level, so we can see these tiny trichomes on those sugar leaves, and that contains the THC that gives us the desired effect that we're looking for. So that's what you want to look at, and that'll determine when it's time to harvest. But usually it's around October, November. Uh, that's about right. I always say, fun fact: you are traveling up and down the freeway, and you notice that there is an increase of state troopers on the freeway. Um, I used to think that it was because it's just people partying. They're partying and there's more alcohol, so they're out there looking for DUIs, and they are probably that too. There ain't that much drinking going on around the holidays, but you know what is going on around the holidays? It's harvest time for cannabis growers. October, November. So you start seeing more cars in the road. Those state troopers are looking for people who might be possibly transporting cannabis. And that's why you see a lot of state troopers on the road. So, yeah, if you're muling stuff right now, you already know this is, and it's sad that you got to even talk about mules, right? For a plant. We just talking about growing a plant, but all of a sudden I gotta be clandestine when I transport it. It's crazy. But it's changing. We're about to get the schedule change coming up soon. This is cool, right? If you want to do some home gardening, this is great. This is what we teach in our course. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. Just doing home gardening for personal use. If this is you and you want to use this as a medicine, you want to know what you're putting into your body? How do you think you're going to do that? I mean, you can buy it. That's what you're going to the dispensary for. But you and I both know the best way to control and remove all the doubts, if you're using this to heal, if you're using this for recreation, you can't beat. It's like growing at home. Is analogous to cooking. Can you get a good meal going out to a restaurant? Heck yeah. Some of my best memories are hanging out at a restaurant, sharing a good meal with friends. It's even a better memory, cooking at home with family and friends. Which do you think is going to give you a better experience and meal? Huh? Eating out or cooking at home? Let me know in the chat. Well, I could tell, I guess the answer, that's relative, right? Because if you can't cook, then I guess you don't have any options. Eating out is the better choice. And if you can't grow, then going to a dispensary is the better choice. But what if you could grow your own? What if you could grow your own cannabis in the privacy of your own home, and the quality of that cannabis was better than anything that you'd get in a dispensary? What do you think then? And you see it, you see what I'm doing. It's not hard work. It, everything is hard when you don't know what you're doing. Everything is hard. But if you could have somebody show you every step from planting the seed to doing what I'm doing right now to smoking it, would it interest you? Huh? With the icky, sticky, icky, you want to make your own, grow your own. Now, this is outdoor that I'm showing you guys. I'm trimming some outdoor plants. These started flowering, I would say August, and this is all outdoor. My indoor stuff, you think this is sticky? Oh my gosh! You should see the stuff that we're teaching in our course. You want to grow some fire? Check out the videos that we've done. I think we have some students that came on, gave a testimony of what it was like when they took the course. One of my students that took it, uh, I don't want to mention the state because I'm not trying to mention that, but he said in his town, he took my course and grew something, was growing, and he tested it with people in his community. And they said, not him, they said that it was the best cannabis they've ever had. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I know he is. I know he is. I'm proud that I was able to help him grow. I believe he was using it. Uh, I believe he was growing for recreational purposes. Could have been medicinal. You know, you can grow for whatever reasons you want. It's why you grow in the privacy of your own home. If you're doing this for medicinal reasons, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? These buds are so big. If you're doing it for medicinal reasons, look at this. This thing, it's the size of both my hands. One bud. One bud. Well, that might be two buds. Might be two. This is one bud. It's one big bud. Anyway, medicinal reasons. You want to know what you're putting into your body? You want to know that the strain that you're growing, they have, because every strain has different effects on the body, right? On the psyche. Check out the video I did where I was explaining the difference between uh, psychoactive, psychotropic, and psychedelic. And cannabis is definitely a psychoactive THC. It's also psychotropic. And I guess you could say if you took enough, it does promote psychedelic, properties, but it's not known for it to be a psychedelic like LSD, or something like that. Those are more psychedelics. So here we go. This is one plant down. Um, yeah, this is Zope. And basically what we're doing is we're getting this plant ready to dry for drying. So we're just trimming the fan leaves off here like I just did here. Okay. And this plant is leaning. It's so heavy. It's leaning. but you can kind of check it out. I'll lean it back. We're cutting this today, so it doesn't matter if it snaps by accident. But this is a pretty big plant for, the short time that it took to grow it. I don't know, quarter a pound, maybe a little more. These are some big buds. These are some big buds, guys. But I have a couple more plants to go. So I can show you those. These are some more that I have to go here. And then those are some that I've already kind of grown, right? Or trimmed, I should say. Excuse me, trimmed. And yeah, that's where we're at. So give me a second here. I'm gonna get this live back. Take you back to the chair with me. There we go. Anyway, hey, I don't want to mess up my equipment. Yeah, so this is kind of what I have left. You see right here, those. And these are some that I've already done. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. Uh, finishing this live up here. Let me take my glove off. Okay. Hey. Okay. Hey. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to get the camera back squared away. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this. This is the super cropping we did of the plant. We did that earlier, and we defoliated throughout the process. And so the tail end, we are trimming our plants, cutting the. I'm tripping. I'm looking at this. I'm saying trim and cutting. We're cutting the fan leaves. Cut the fan leaves so that we can reduce the moisture content. And that's pretty much kind of what we're doing with that. Like I told you guys before, this is the zope that we're growing. And we've grown zope. Here's a picture of it. See if we can get you guys a nice picture of zope. That's what it's going to look like when we're done. Just so you guys know. That's what it'll look like. That's the zope. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna get you back here. Hope you guys enjoyed the live of trimming the zope, and we'll see you next time when we dry it and cure it and smoke it, so you guys get to see what all that looks like. So yeah. Anyway, next time, guys. Next time, we'll see you around. Peace.